Gummy Mummies. Egyptians used a millennia-old embalming recipe. This is by Jana Jones, Research Fellow, Ancient History, Macquarie University, on The Conversation. For the first time, scientific evidence has shown that prehistoric Egyptians experimented with techniques to preserve bodies around 4000 BC, 6,000 years ago, some 1,500 years before artificial mummification was believed to have begun. Traditional theories on ancient Egyptian mummification, which you will find in every book on mummies, say that in the prehistoric period, bodies were naturally desiccated or dried by burial in the hot, dry desert sand without other forms of human involvement. In the journal PLOS ONE, colleagues from Macquarie, York, and Oxford universities radically revised current understanding of the origins of mummification by overturning some old assumptions. We analyzed brown, shiny residues on 6,000-year-old funerary textiles that I suspected were embalming substances. The textiles originally came from the now destroyed cities of Badari and Mostagena in Upper Egypt. The excavators had sent these to a number of British museums in the 1920s and 1930s. The sites consisted of a cluster of small cemeteries. Some had only 50 graves, others had 200 graves, for a total of about 600 graves. And when they were excavated, it was the first glimpse of a previously unknown prehistoric civilization, which predated anything known at the time. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. I traced the textiles to the Bolton Museum in Bolton, UK, and examined them under the microscope with my colleague, an award-winning microscopist Ron Oldfield. We were very fortunate to be allowed to take 92 samples back to Macquarie for textile and resin analysis and micro and macro photography. Only about 12 biochemical analyses of embalming substances have ever been carried out. Ancient embalming ingredients. University of York biochemist Stephen Buckley, who has unique knowledge of ancient, aged, and often degraded organic compounds from his previous work with mummies, was able to identify the embalming mixtures. This followed a number of unsuccessful attempts by other investigators, and Buckley used mass spectroscopy, an analytical technique that measures the mass of compounds with very high precision and accuracy. The chemistry showed that the toffee-like residues were actually complex recipes, quote-unquote. They had not just been mixed together, but heated at high temperatures. Pine resin, plant gum or sugar, aromatic plant extract, so in other words, it was also very nicely fragranced, plant wax, and natural petroleum and oil seep were mixed into the base of fat or oil. We've not yet analyzed the exact source of these products. That's for future research, but we could reasonably expect it to be a base of something along the lines of linseed oil mixed with animal fat, such as that from hippopotamus or gazelle. The plant gum could be bacteria, also known as gum arabic, and the plant wax is most likely a cereal leaf wax such as emmer wheat. The most surprising and probably most sensational finding was that there was no fundamental change in the recipe of the embalming mixtures used when pharaonic mummification was at its peak, some 2,500 to 300 years later. The only differences lay in the introduction or substitution of an ingredient accordingly to availability or to changing religious beliefs. How to mummify the body. This is what they were doing. True or artificial mummification, as practiced in the pharaonic period from about 2500 BC, involved evisceration, that is, removal of the internal organs except the heart, drying out of the soft tissue by a desiccant such as natron, a naturally occurring salt from Egyptian lakes. Application of antibacterial balms comprising mixtures of resins, oils, and fats. In all techniques used in artificial mummification, the scientific basis rested on the dehydration of the soft tissue to prevent decay caused by the bacteria. But as it turns out, prehistoric burials show that the early Egyptians understood the science that would later become the basis of true mummification. This is by Jana Jones, Research Fellow, Ancient History, McGarry University, on The Conversation, Creative Commons. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.